Hello there, my name is Tactical Pumpkin, and today I'm going to be trying something very different. I'm going to be making a talking head video. I've never done something like this before. I mean, you'd probably know if you've seen any of my other stuff. My channel is a gaming channel, and I don't usually really talk about random stuff that much, but I figured I'd give it a go. You know, trying new things is always great. So yeah, just bear with me for this one. It's a new experience for all of us, okay? What I do want to talk about today is the crazy news that's come out about AI video recently. So, if you've not been living under a rock, you've possibly heard within the last, 48 hours or... Well, I don't know when the video is going to come out, but within the last few days, pretty much, AI video has just taken a massive leap. OpenAI has unveiled Sora, which is an AI model that converts text to video. We've seen things like that before in the past, but they've been really bad to the point where... you know, you wouldn't really use it for anything realistically because it really wasn't there. A video that I've seen a lot of people compare what's came out recently to is the old video of Will Smith eating spaghetti, the AI one. But that's not the only example. There's a lot of old AI video stuff from like a year ago that was made when people first started getting into that is really crazy to compare to what's out now. So this is the page that has been going around the internet, everyone's been looking at. It's pretty much a showcase of what this AI can now do. As you can see, they have a bunch of example videos here, and I just want to go through some of it and just talk about it because, you know, it's a topic that really interests me. I'm sure there's a lot of people interested in it. I know the general AI topic has been rising over the last few years, and in my opinion, this is probably the most exciting thing that's happened since like the beginning of the whole AI trend. So you can see here at the top of the page, all videos on this page are generated directly by Sora without any modification. That means they have been edited, they haven't been, you know, there's been no post-production on these videos. They've just been straight through the machine, generated, and they've been posted to this website. Now, obviously, I'm sure that OpenAI posted the best results they got to try and show what the potential capabilities of this are. But nonetheless, these are things that were generated by robots. No people were involved in the process apart from typing the prompt. As you can see here, we have what is described as a stylish woman walking down a Tokyo street filled with warm, glowing neon and animated city signage. There's more to the prompt, but that's the gist of it. And as you can see, that is what we have. And at a first glance, most people would see this, and if it wasn't on this website and it was just like, you know, scrolling through Twitter or whatever, and you happen to see this video, unless you know about Sora, you probably wouldn't even think that this is made by AI. I mean, if you look at this part of the video where we get close-ups, this is where you can really see some crazy detail coming in. You can look at the skin, you can see all the like imperfections, you can see all the like little hairs and stuff on the face. It is absolutely ridiculous. When I first saw this, I was actually on break at school and I was just scrolling through and I saw a video about it. And I was like, oh, what's this new AI stuff? Cool, let's watch it. Let's see what it is. And when I actually saw these examples for myself, I think that my jaw literally just dropped. Like, no joke, not an overstatement. I was sitting there watching it, and I think I just put my hands on my head like this, and my jaw just went like that, and I was just watching it. As I saw more and more of them, I was just getting more and more blown away because this is absolutely ridiculous. Look at this. This just looks like a drone shot. Just a drone shot of a beach somewhere with a building on the hill. Look at this. It's animation. It's a furry little creature with horns. There's a melting candle, and it's just, you know, it's moving around. It looks a bit stiff in some ways, but, you know, that might just be a stylistic thing. I don't know exactly the details of how this prompt was made and generated. You can see here, animated scene features a close-up of a short fluffy monster kneeling beside a melting candle. And then it has a bunch of details about art style and all that. This one's pretty cool. It's like an origami coral reef. You can see like it's paper, sea life, sea creatures. Seahorse looks sick. This one's a bird. I don't even know if it's a real bird, to be honest. The close-up shot of a Victoria crowned pigeon showcases its striking blue plumage and red chest. That is AI generated. A robot made that video. Is that not insane? I think it is. And there's so many more examples. I'm not going to go through all of them because there's too many. This one was crazy to me. I didn't even think of this when I first looked into it. Essentially, you can create historical footage. I mean, obviously not real historical footage, but you can make something that looks ripped straight from the 1800s, 1700s, however far you probably want to go back, and you can make it look like a drone has flown through a western town, like a DJI drone just flew over, and you know, you can see all the horses, all the people going around, all the architecture of the time. I think it's even simulating like grainy video footage to show that it's old. Yeah, historical footage of California during the gold rush. This isn't even a very in-depth prompt, and this is still a great result. So let's read a little bit about what's going on here. It says, we're teaching AI to understand and simulate the physical world in motion with the goal of training models that help people solve problems that require real-world interaction. Introducing Sora, our text-to-video model. Sora can generate videos up to a minute long while maintaining visual quality and adherence to the user's prompt. A minute long. Now, those ones that I was talking about in the past, like when AI video first started sort of kicking off and people were trying to figure it out, those video generations, I'm pretty sure were only measured in like not even tens of seconds. Like we're talking 6-7 second clips, maybe pushing them to like 15 seconds and a little bit over, but you weren't getting anything near a minute back then. Continuing, it says, today Sora is becoming available to red teamers to assess critical areas for harms or risks. We are also granting access to a number of visual artists, designers, and filmmakers to gain feedback on how to advance the model to be most helpful for creative professionals. I think what it means by red teamers is these are the people who are going to be trying to sort of refine the generation of the videos, make sure that it's not able to generate things that would be considered inappropriate, like whether it's sexual things, violent things, any sort of things that would be considered inappropriate for the general public to be able to generate, and also probably just ironing out little bugs and stuff with the process. We're sharing our research progress early to start working with and getting feedback from people outside of OpenAI and to give the public a sense of what AI capabilities are on the horizon. We got like a little man here in like a, looks like a snow globe, but is that even what it is? A close-up view of a glass sphere, okay, with a garden in it. A dwarf creating patterns in the sand. Just like looking at this, all I'm thinking of is the amount of like stock footage that people are going to have access to. Like stock footage, I mean, it's AI generated. It's good enough, like it's past the point where it's acceptable to use something like this as stock footage and for people to just accept it as stock footage. Like you wouldn't look at this gnome in the glass and think, oh, that's AI generated, you know? The actual quality of it is perfectly acceptable to be used as stock footage. Like let's say I was a scientist or something making a video about how the human eye works, and while I was explaining it, I had this video pop up on the screen as stock footage. It would work, it would be perfect. We're approaching the point where you won't need to really go to stock footage websites to find stuff. You'll just be able to think of exactly the thing that you're looking for as stock footage, type it in, generate it, and you'll just have this to use. And it'll be completely unique because obviously it's generated, you'll be able to chuck it into your video and it'll just do the job. And I feel like it'll save a lot of people a lot of time. You got a little animation of like a rabbit dancing here. Thing is, there's no model of this rabbit. There's no like 3D asset of this rabbit, right? Or the clothes he's wearing or the background behind him. It's still all just a video. Right, so nobody's actually went and actually made all these assets like you would for a real animation project. But if you can just generate something like this, you know, you'd have to ask the question, why would someone go through the effort to make all those things if you can just generate it here? And I can see in the future, there's definitely going to be a lot of talk and discussion about how this sort of thing is going to affect the animation industry. In this example right here, a beautiful homemade video showing people of Lagos, Nigeria in the year 2056, shot with a mobile phone camera. So this one I noticed the scale is very odd, which is probably something like a little kink in the AI that they still need to sort of hone in. But you can see here, all these people walking in the street, they all look normal and everything looks fine until you get to about here and you notice that these people sitting at this restaurant or whatever this seems to be, some sort of a dining area, they seem to be absolutely gigantic compared to all those people walking in the street. And then as the camera sort of comes down and pans around, the scale sort of starts to make more sense in a weird way. Yeah, it's just like a really trippy effect. I feel like even trying to mimic something like this whole scale changing thing would be hard to actually do intentionally with some sort of like a 3D animation or something. Obviously it's probably unintentional here, but it It could be a cool effect if used in the right way. I don't know. You got another like animation type thing here. Yeah, this is crazy. I mean, and this generates things up to a minute long. And as you probably know, most, movies and animations and things like that, obviously it's not all one clip, one shot. There's like cuts and there's different angles and things. And one shot of like a movie or an animation will probably not go for much longer than, I don't know, 5 seconds or so on average, I'm saying. Because it's constantly cutting and changing perspectives. So realistically, even though this only generates minute-long clips, you could still generate 100-minute-long clips and stitch them together through like regular editing techniques and try and make like a film or something out of it. Obviously, you'd have to have audio because this doesn't generate audio, it just does the video, so you'd still have to do that aspect of it. I'm really curious to see the first person that manages to put together like a coherent story using this, and just to see how it feels to watch something like that. No humans experienced that before. Like, no human has ever sat down and watched a movie or like a feature-length animation video or something that is just purely made by a robot, pretty much. Just a robot prompted by a human. It's insane for me to think that that's even going to be a thing that can happen, but it will be. Is it going to be any good? I don't know. How much input is actually going to be needed from the person putting together that film in order to actually make it decent? Alright, moving on. Sora is able to generate complex scenes with multiple characters, specific types of motion, and accurate details of the subject and background. The model understands not only what the user has asked for in the prompt, but also how those things exist in the physical world. That is a good point. The physics, right? This isn't, I haven't even mentioned this yet, but physics. When you're generating a photo, right? Let's say you're back when AI photos were becoming a big thing. It was a similar thing to what we're seeing right here. AI photos initially were horrible. They couldn't really make things that were usable for any reason. They all just kind of looked like messes of stuff on a screen. They couldn't really generate text properly. It just looked like a bunch of symbols. Faces were horrible. Hands were even worse. Any sort of limbs, it was a mess. And then you look like a year after that point, AI photo generation became much better. There was like a huge leap, just like there is right here. Surprisingly enough, it took about the same amount of time for AI video to go from bad to good as it did for AI photo to go from bad to good from when we first saw it, which I think is insane. When I first started seeing AI video, I was like, okay, this is, it's a cool little tech demo of what we might see in the future, back when we were seeing all the older crappier stuff. But realistically, this is going to take quite a few years to be able to put together like a coherent clip of something actually happening. And to my surprise, in the same amount of time it took photos to get good, the video got good. There's just so much more that needs to be done with a video, because a photo is just one frame, if it's just one image. I've seen people say, well, okay, but an AI video, realistically, it's just a bunch of pictures put in a line and you just play it and that's how it becomes a video. Well, yeah, sure, that's what a video is. It's frames per second, right? But the AI has to do more than just copy the same frame 60 times to have a second of footage for 60 frames per second. It has to make something coherent. Like right here, we have this car driving, which, by the way, just off topic, one day Grand Theft Auto is going to look like this, and that's going to be a very good day for all of us. But anyway, as you can see, this is a car driving down a road. If you got like an AI photo generator and you gave it this prompt of a car driving down the road, it might generate one frame of this video. And let's say you wanted to try string it together into a video and you told it to generate another one. The shape of the road would be completely different. The color of the trees might be different. The sky might look a bit different. It wouldn't be consistent. When you have AI video generation, the model has to be able to consistently make sure it's the same as the video is playing. The road can't change, the color of the car can't change, the letters on the car can't change, the shape of the car itself can't look any different, the trees need to stay the same, everything needs to be consistent while the camera is moving through the space, which I don't understand how they figured that out, but they did. Like a lot of earlier examples of AI video, let me see if I can find the one I'm thinking of actually. Alright, I think I found it. This is the one. When did this come out? 7th of May 2023, so a little less than a year ago, this video came out, and it is AI generated. It's an AI animation of a girl dancing. I'm pretty sure that it is like a mocapped dance of a real person dancing is put in, and then the AI just kind of overlays the actual like image itself. But this is kind of what I was talking about before. If you pay attention to what's happening, the hair color is constantly changing. The background is like the creases in what looks like blinds is constantly changing. The floor, the texture is constantly changing. The clothing that she's wearing is changing. You can see like sometimes she has sleeves. If I just pause it on like a random point. All right, so see like this frame, for example, you can clearly see she's got like a collar, right? Around her neck, like she's wearing some sort of a shirt. You go to the next frame. Now she's got a bow tie around her neck. Keep going. She has some sort of some other necklace thing. And you just look at that. That thing keeps on changing constantly, along with a lot of other things. Like that little strap she has on her leg, it's changing every single frame. For this AI to work properly, it has to keep that consistency. This is a reflection in the window of a train traveling through Tokyo suburbs. Look at this shit. It looks real. There's no way you would look at this before a couple days ago or you know, today, and you would be like, oh, that's AI generated. It is absolutely ridiculous. And here we just have, you know, it looks like drone footage again of some church somewhere. You will notice there are some things, if you pay really close attention. For example, you see where my mouse is right now, these 3 people down here, you'll notice they all just kind of get Thanos snapped out of existence. If I play the video, keep an eye on them. Boop, boop. Okay, they're all gone. And he's going to morph into the fence there. Yep, he's gone. Okay, if this was just some stock footage on a random video and you weren't really paying much attention, you would notice that. And I'm sure things like that are going to be ironed out in the near future. You know, this is just a really early example. A quote that I've seen a lot of people saying, this is the worst it's going to get. This is the worst it's ever going to be. From this moment on, it's only getting better. This one's crazy too. Look at this. It's a Chinese Lunar New Year celebration video with a Chinese dragon. In no world would I see this video online and think, oh look, it's AI. I'd imagine this as like some sort of a segment on a news channel or something. You've got like a banner at the bottom that says Chinese Lunar New Year celebration in the streets. Nobody would second guess it. Continuing on, the model has a deep understanding of language, enabling it to accurately interpret prompts and generate compelling characters that express vibrant emotions. Sora can also create multiple shots within a single generated video that accurately persist characters and visual style. That's what I'm talking about. Not only can it just make one panning shot of something, as we saw in the very first clip of the woman walking through Tokyo at night, there's actually different shots in that scene. It's not just a zooming panning shot of her walking. It's that initially, and then it cuts to a close-up of her, and everything stays consistent. She's still in the same street, she's wearing the same clothes, she's got the same hair, she's got the same, you know, features and everything, but it's a different type of shot and it's still consistent. This is another one that a lot of people were like sharing around online. Beautiful snowy Tokyo, bustling, camera moves through the bustling street. And you've got these 2 people walking. Scaling looks a bit odd in it at some points. Like here, they look kind of gigantic in my opinion. And the people ahead look tiny. And then it kind of fixes itself as it gets closer. The road on the left looks small. There's like cars disappearing and people disappearing behind objects and things. But again, you know, AI photos had similar issues when they were first coming out. For the most part now, that's all been refined really, really well. I don't expect that these sort of issues are going to persist forever in AI video. Definitely not. Oh, this is a pretty cool one too. This extreme close-up of a grey-haired man with a beard in his 60s, deep in thought, pondering the history of the universe as he sits at a cafe in Paris. This guy, he looks like he could be a real dude. Little micro movements in his lips and his facial muscles. You can see his hat, like the fluff on his hat, the fluff on his coat. You see people walking in the back. The fact that humans can be depicted this accurately in the AI video is crazy to me. So obviously, you know, you got a lot of things going on here. You got the puppies, their like heads are colliding with each other. You got to deal with their fur. You got to deal with their floppy ears. You have the snow hitting them and spreading on their heads and moving around. It's crazy to me that the AI can comprehend physics this well. It's crazy, man. It is ridiculous. Alright, so here's some of the things that I was talking about before. So the current model has weaknesses. It may struggle with accurately simulating the physics of a complex scene and may not understand specific instances of cause and effect. For example, a person might take a bite out of a cookie, but afterward, the cookie may not have a bite mark. The model may also confuse spatial details of a prompt, for example, mixing up left and right, and may struggle with precise descriptions of events that take place over time, like following a specific camera trajectory. And I guess these videos here are some examples of that. So you've got this guy a person running. I guess he's running the wrong way, but never mind that. They even label what the weaknesses are in these. So you got here weakness. Sora sometimes creates physical implausible motion. But let's move on to this next one. The weakness here is animals or people can spontaneously appear, especially in scenes containing many entities. I did notice that in some of the other ones. Obviously you've got here, if you go from the start, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, yeah, so they're just kind of appearing, which is what it's mentioning here. 1, 2, 3 dogs on the screen. You play the video a bit, and you've now got like 5 or 4 or 6 or however many. They're just coming out of nowhere. But still, leagues ahead of anything that's been seen before. Right here, you got weakness. Example of inaccurate physical modeling and unnatural object morphing. So basketball goes in. There's an explosion. It comes through the net. And then I believe, yeah, that basketball just phases through the ring there. In this example, Sora fails to model the chair as a rigid object, leading to inaccurate physical interactions. This is the archaeologists discover a plastic chair in the desert. So you can see they're pulling this, I don't know, sheet out of the ground, and then the sheet kind of spawns a chair. But then the chair starts like floating, kind of. It's like moving around, it's possessed, and it starts like morphing around. You got another one here. Simulating complex interactions between objects and multiple characters is often challenging for the model, sometimes resulting in humorous generations. You'd probably want her to be like blowing out the candles, but she just kind of ends up standing there and smiling and laughing. Obviously, the people in the background, their hands are a little bit scuffed. This woman right here, you can see her hands. They're kind of doing this weird thing. Guy in the background is clapping. His clapping actually doesn't look that bad. The girl on the left there, she's like having some trouble trying to figure out how to clap. This is just like a little safety brief they've got. So we'll be taking important steps, working with red teamers. Yeah, so it's pretty much what I said. So the red teamers are just people who are going to be refining these specific areas. Misinformation, hateful content, bias. You want to sort of weed all those things out of it. Make sure that it's safe for public use. You could have people that generate stuff to make other people look bad, whether it be political figures or, you know, just celebrities, famous people. You frame them doing something. Obviously, because of how realistic these videos look, you know, a lot of people believe it. So obviously that needs to be sorted out. We're also building tools to help detect misleading content. They also plan to include C2PA metadata in the future. So I'm pretty sure what that means is basically a way where if you generate something through their model, there's sort of some metadata within it that would let people know that, hey, this is an AI generated thing and it's not, you know, made by an actual person. In addition to them developing new techniques, they're also leveraging existing safety methods that they built for like DALL-E 3, for example. Again, that's going to be talking about the violent stuff, sexual stuff, any inappropriate sort of things that could be generated. Text classifier that will reject prompts that are in violation of use. Yeah, so here you go. You got that. Extreme violence, sexual content, hateful imagery, celebrity likenesses as well, intellectual property of other people, blah, 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 blah. And they say that they'll be engaging policymakers, educators, and artists around the world to understand their concerns. Of course they will. Will they actually act deeply on those concerns and implement, like, you know, crazy restrictions all over everything? I don't know. They've got a few more examples down here. I think this is the last set of them. You got the train coming. Look closely and you will find stuff. For example, I'm looking at it right now and I am seeing that, well, these 3 carriages are all seemingly the same length, kind of, not really. This one has less windows than the others, but they're similar length. And then you see this 4th carriage here, which looks extremely long. And then again, you have like a shorter one, you have a longer one. The length of the carriages, that last carriage back there looks like it just goes on forever. I don't see a break in that one for a while. If it was used as stock footage, it would probably be fine. So yeah, we've looked through pretty much all the clips on the site. Obviously, stuff like this one here probably makes a lot of people in the art industry sort of start thinking, well, shit, am I going to be made redundant in the very near future if people can just generate animations like this? And you know, that is a scary question to be asking, because if that is the case, so many people would be losing jobs because of this. And, you know, it's bound to happen. There's definitely going to be people who, before this existed, who would want to make an animation like this, they would really have no choice but to hire, you know, a professional animator or something. In the very near future, there are going to be people, maybe with lesser budgets, who just completely disregard real animators and they just start using this stuff, because it's definitely going to be way cheaper than hiring an actual animator to do it for you. I'm assuming it'll probably be similar to how the photo generation works, where it's like a membership that you pay monthly or yearly or something like that. But whatever it is, it's probably going to be worth it for a lot of people to be able to get, whether you need stock footage or you need like short animations done. It's going to be like a really easy shortcut for a lot of people. I believe it has lots of good sides and lots of bad sides. And I feel like this is a topic that is going to be increasingly discussed as this technology gets even bigger and even better. And there's going to be this very clear dividing line between the people on one end who are like, this is awesome, we have so much access to be able to make all these things and generate these things without having to pay for it all. And then you'll have all the people whose jobs are being lost on the other end who are like, this is kind of messed up, guys. I spent X amount of years learning how to do this and now the robot just does it. And then you'll definitely have the people who have the sort of mindset of, well, machines have been replacing human work for a long time now. You know, people that work in factories or assembly lines have been being replaced by machines that can do the, you know, automate the process and this. But I feel like now it's coming to the creativity side of things. There's the argument of like, well, is creativity not something that humans should only be allowed to participate in? Or is it okay to actually, you know, allow robotics and AI to participate in creativity as well? And then there's the whole other thing of, well, if an AI makes it, can you even really call it creativity? Is creativity even something that we consider a non-human of being able to do? Does your definition of creativity allow for a robot to make something and call it creative, you know? For me personally, I don't know. I'm kind of stuck in the middle. I think this stuff is really cool. I think it's great. But I also think a lot of people are going to lose jobs, which is not great for them. I also know that we can't really stop this. It's happening now. When the AI photos started happening, that got out pretty quick. It wasn't able to be restricted. People started generating photos on their own home computers, and the same thing's going to happen with video, which means once that happens, you can't restrict it anymore. Cat's out of the bag. It's kind of just GG. And I'm pretty confident there's basically no way laws and legislation are going to be able to keep up with something like this taking over the industry, because it's so rapidly moving, and copyright is a whole nother mess with it too. It really is a crazy time to be living in, to be completely honest. Well, I think I'm just about coming to the end of what I wanted to talk about here today. I know that everyone's talking about it, and you know, there's so many sources of information that you can look at on the internet about this topic in particular, but I thought it was a great opportunity. It's something that I'm interested in. It's something that I feel like talking about, and you know, at the end of the day, it's just a little experiment to see what it's like to make this kind of video. It feels very weird to me personally, because I've never sat down and just made this type of video before. I'm always playing a game or I'm talking over something else. This is just a cool new thing and I'm just talking about it, and you know, it was fun. I had a fun time doing it. I feel like I mentioned everything I wanted to mention. At the end of the day, it is what it is. It's here now. We're gonna have to deal with it, whatever good it brings, whatever bad it brings. Most of all though, I hope you've gotten some sort of value out of my input on the topic. I know there's so many other people talking about it and it's big news right now, and I also know that, you know, looking at the history of my channel, you wouldn't expect me to upload something like this, but that's part of the reason I'm doing it. I'm spontaneous. I feel like doing something, I'm just going to do it. If people watch it, sick. If not, it's been a learning experience for me. I don't know what day of the week this video is going to come out. It's going to come out whenever, because I'm not going to treat it as like a main upload video, because it's not gaming stuff. But regardless, I'll be seeing you in next Monday's video. So if you enjoyed this one, leave it a like, leave it a comment. Let me know what you think about the topic. If you're interested in this sort of thing, let me know what kind of effect you think it's going to have on the way that we do things, what your take is on the whole like artists losing jobs and like the companies being able to take, you know, shortcuts to make some sort of video content, maybe even for advertising, things like that. Okay guys, I'm gonna stop rambling now. I'm sure that you've probably had enough of my voice. Enjoy the rest of your days, enjoy the rest of your weeks. I will see you in the next video. Goodbye!